When a new LEGO theme gets released, as a LEGO investor, as someone who buys LEGO sets so the values go up, it's hard for me to know if I should be investing in sets that are from a brand new theme, because the theme may not be tried and tested. We can't look at old sets and see values skyrocketing and think, I want to jump in as an investment on this theme. In the last couple of years, we've had a lot of new themes, such as Dreams, Gabby's Dollhouse, we've had Sonic the Hedgehog in the last year, but before that, we've also had LEGO Art, LEGO Super Mario, Hidden Side, a lot of new themes over the last couple of years. And this can lead a lot of LEGO investors to either make mistakes or also to miss out on great opportunities, because maybe you're snoozing on a new theme and you don't know if it's tried and tested enough for you to get involved, but maybe it's a great theme to invest in. Now, that actually happened with a handful of LEGO Art sets, and some of the first sets to retire in the LEGO Art lineup actually performed really well as an investment and skyrocketed in value. Now we're going to talk about the Super Mario sets, because over the last couple of years, we've had the first few waves of Super Mario retirements. The Super Mario theme was released in 2020, and so after a couple of years on the shelves, they started to retire at the end of 2021. So now we have 2 full years of history on that first year of retirement of Super Mario sets, and we also have other waves that have retired since then as well. So we can look at a handful of Super Mario sets and figure out if these things are good investments or not, and that's what we're going to do here in this video. So I'm going to pull up a handful of retired LEGO Super Mario sets, and we're going to look at it together. What has happened to the price of these sets in retirement? Has it gone up? Has it gone sideways? What is going on here? And the sets that I'm using here is just a random sample of retirements from 2021 and 2022, because that gives us a look at sets that have had 2 full years in retirement, but also some sets that have only had 1 year in retirement. What is going on with these sets? And before I jump in, I do want to say that this data is based on Amazon in the United States. So wherever you are around the world, you may see different prices in your market and on your marketplace. So if you look at eBay or Bricklink, you're going to see different things here. We're using Amazon in the United States. So let's just jump straight in, and we're using a tool here called Keepa, and this is what I use to track prices. It shows me some real nice charts of prices going up over time and what's going on here. So the first set that we're going to look at here is LEGO Super Mario Luigi's Mansion Lab and Poltergeist expansion set. This is set number 71397, and this is one of the ones that was released in 2022, retired at the end of 2022. So this was not one of the first Super Mario sets to be released. This set was a $30 MSRP, again retired at the end of 2022, so we've had over a year of retirement on this set. Now if we have a look at the chart here, we can see again it was a $30 MSRP, but on Amazon it was discounted a lot, so you could actually see you could get it for $25, you get it for $24, but right before retirement you could have got it for $20. $20.25 is what you could have got this. It was a pretty good price for a $30 MSRP. Now over the first year in retirement, and we know that Amazon sold out by the orange color here disappearing. Orange color here tells us that Amazon were in stock, and the blue and the pink line were the price. Now the pink line is the buy box price, and that just means it's the price on the front page of the listing. So if you go to this set on Amazon and there's a big buy button, the price that you see on the buy button is the pink line here. But if you click to see what other sellers are selling for, the low price is what you might see with the blue line here. And so we've got both here, and the reason we have both is because the pink line doesn't always exist. Sometimes you don't see a buy box when you go to the listing, so we're including the blue line here as well. But over the course of the first year of retirement, we see it was flat. The price was pretty flat for the first half of the year, but it did start to pop right here, and we can see a buy box of $40 at one point right here. Now, and again, you could have got this for 20 bucks 6 months before, just right before retirement. You could have got it for 20. Now it's selling for 40. After you pay your fees, you might take back 30, and again, that's a 50% return on investment right there. So after a couple of months, if you were able to sell it right here at this high buy box price, you would have done pretty well. But as we can see here, the low price at that point was $27. So there's a big disparity between the low price and the buy box price here, and that's what I like to call the prime bump. And the reason I call it the bump is because if you get the buy box as a seller, if you win the buy box on Amazon, you can sometimes sell for higher prices than everybody else, and that's what's happening here. So, but there were some sales here at $40, but again, that buy box then disappeared, but the low price here was closer to $27, $28. Then the buy box came back in here, and we did have a good period of time with the buy box at $35 here. So again, if you bought it for 20, sold it for 35, you're doing okay. But if you bought this for full MSRP of $30, you're still losing money at this point because of your fees that you got to pay on Amazon. So the price didn't really go up the way we would like it to do in the first year of its retirement until Q4. So at the end of that first year, we do see that market price skyrocketing up to the point where even without a buy box, we can see the low price being upwards of $50, $57 right there at the start or in middle of December. $57, again, if you bought it for 20, you are more than doubling your money within 1 year of retirement at that point. Even if you bought it at full MSRP for 30 at that point, you're doing pretty okay. But again, we don't want to be paying full price for a lot of these sets. We want to get discounts. So if you did get a discount and you're selling it for 55 bucks after the first year of retirement, you're doing pretty well. Now today, it's selling for 60. So once again, if you bought it for 20, you're selling it for 60, you're doing great right now with this set as an investment. Even if you bought it for the full MSRP of 30, you are doing pretty well. You're probably making about 50% return after paying all of your fees. So this set, as of right now, has been a pretty good investment. The first half of its first year of retirement was slow, but it's picked up and a lot of the supply sold out pretty quickly in the Q4 period. And now we have a pretty good investment on our hands with the Luigi's Mansion Lab and Poltergeist expansion set. So that's the first one. So let's look at another one here. And next up we have the Bowser Jr.'s Clown Car expansion set. This is a pretty cheap set here. You could have got it on Amazon right before retirement for $7. And it was a $10 MSRP, but again, you usually could have got a discount on this kind of set. Over the course of the first half of the first year of retirement, we see the price being pretty flat at the low price, but we do see some buy box action here at around $18. So if you bought it for $7, sold it for $18, you're making a couple of bucks. You do have to pay your Amazon fees, and the Amazon fees take up a little more at lower price sales. And so this would kill a little bit of your profit, but if you waited until the end of the first year of retirement, we do see that market price going up here to $21.60. So at that point, you are 3x. If you bought it for $7 and you sold it for $21.60, you're selling it for triple what you bought it for. And even after you pay your fees at that point, you're doing a great return on investment. Again, the problem with $7 investments is that you got to get a lot of them to deploy a large amount of money. And so that is the challenge with $7 investments, but often you can see incredible return on investments with them. That's what we're seeing here. After 1 year, you could have been close to doubling your money if you did get it for a $7 price. So it just depends on your purchase price again. Right now, it has come back down again. It is at around $17.80 right now. You can see that up here. However, it's just a matter of time before this goes back up again. And so this also could have been a pretty good investment, but again, the challenge being the price is so low that it's hard to deploy a lot of money. Next up, we have the Dory's Beachfront expansion set. So this is set number 71398. And this one, again, retired at the end of 2022. And right before retirement, it was selling for $24, and then it dropped to $20. So that's a really good price for this set. Again, this was a $30 MSRP. So if you're getting it for $20 here, you're doing really well on the buying. It did take about another couple of months after the retirement for Amazon to actually sell out. You can see the orange color was still here. Amazon still had some stock of this at full MSRP right up until March. Now, throughout the rest of the year, we can see that the price was pretty flat. The line does not go anywhere until right around Q4. Once again, we do have the price start to move up here in Q4, and we hit $40 right there. So the peak was at around 40. And again, if you bought it for 20 and you're selling it at that 40 mark, you're doing pretty well. After you pay your fees, you're probably making around a 50% return. But that is if you bought at the low and sold at the high. So a lot of people probably didn't get the absolute lowest price and sell at the absolute highest price. So far, this one has been a subpar investment overall. Again, if you bought at that low price and sold at the high price, you're doing okay. But otherwise, it's kind of so-so. You're not doing incredibly well with this one as an investment. So Dory's Beachfront still remains to be seen what's going to happen with this in the second year of retirement. Moving into Bowser's Airship. This is one that I think a lot of people are going to recognize. This is like a flagship from this theme. Bowser's Airship 71391. Now this set also retired in December of 2022, and right before it retired, you could have got it for $80. Now it was a $100 MSRP on this set. Amazon did drop the price coming into Q4 of 2022 right before retirement. So you could have got it for $80. Now it did last in stock into the early months of 2023, and so you do see Amazon being in stock here. But when they sold out, we do see that blue line start to climb up a little bit, up to about $110. But then it goes flat again. And so for the second half of the first year of retirement, we still have a flat price. It did not climb back up. In fact, Amazon actually came back in stock here in October for a little while, but the price did did not go much further on this one. So far, if you bought it for the $80 price, you're profitable at this point, but it's not really doing great for you. And we're going to have to wait to see what's going to happen with this one in the second year of its retirement to see if the price starts to improve on this. So Bowser's Airship has been a little bit of a subpar investment, and I think that this was one that just had a little more supply in the aftermarket than some of the others, because it is a pretty cool looking set. Airship, great. Bowser, great. So there's a lot to love about it, and I think that that has led to a little bit more supply on this one than some of the lesser known sets. As a result, the price has not climbed quite as fast. Next up, we have Luigi's Mansion Entryway. So this is 71399, and this one right before retirement you could have got it for $32. It was a $40 MSRP, and right before retirement again we do actually see it selling out in November of 2022. It retired at the end of 2022. We can see a quick price bump from the $32 price that you could have bought it up to the $42 range, but from there it goes pretty quiet. It doesn't really climb much further in the first half of the first year of retirement. It is a flat line all the way across here, right up until just the end of the first year of retirement. We do see a little bit of movement on the price, but even so, the buy box of $40. Right here we do see a buy box of $53, and that is the high point of the year. And so if you bought it for $32, sold for $53, you're making a couple of bucks, but it's nothing to be too excited about at this point. This one was definitely slow in the first year of retirement. Now the good news would be in the second year of retirement, in the last couple of months here in 2024, we do see a buy box that is really starting to climb up here, and in fact we see a buy box at $65 here in the end of January. So if you can sell at the buy box, by the way, if you are an Amazon seller and you use FBA, you have a pretty good chance of being able to win the buy box, and so you would be able to sell for $65. So at that point, if you bought it for $32 and sold it at the buy box for $65, you're making money, you're doing okay. But again, I would like to see that price climbing a little further, particularly that low market price. I want to see that going up further, because when this buy box gets taken away, the price will come back down again. And having such a big disparity between the low price, which is $45, and the buy box price, which is $65, is not really sustainable in the long term. Usually it will kind of narrow a little bit, and so I don't expect this disparity to continue for long. But I do also note that the supply on this set has started to reduce recently, and in the first year of retirement, down here on the supply chart, we see a lot of supply. The supply chart is the third one of these three charts here. We see a lot of supply here in the first year of retirement, which is the reason that this price stayed so flat for so long. But recently we see the supply is much lower, and as a result of that, we are going to see that price start to climb. So Luigi's Mansion Entryway is undoubtedly going to climb a little more in price soon, but it has taken time to get to that point. Next up, we're going to look at Big Urchin Beach Ride expansion set. This is 71400, another one that retired at the end of 2022. Now this one had an MSRP of $60, but throughout 2022, Amazon started to discount this set, and for a large portion of that year, it was selling for $48. Right before retirement, it dropped down to $31. So you could have bought it for $30. Again, an MSRP of $60. So it's almost half price at that point. You could have bought it for $31. And then throughout the first year of retirement, we can see Amazon selling out right here just as we're coming into March of 2023. And then we can see that buy box price start to climb very quickly. That pink line reaches $60 here. So again, if you bought it for $31 and you're selling it after 5 months for $60, you're doing okay at that point. You're doing pretty well. You're not doubling your money because you do have to pay your fees, but you're doing pretty well at that point for just a couple of months of hold time. And if you continue to wait longer, we do see the price staying pretty flat throughout the year, but right there in Q4, we do see a little price bump up to $75. So that buy box is reaching $75. Now again, we do see a case where that low market price is $43, and so there are some sellers with the set available for $43 while the buy box is selling for $70 or $75. But we do got to note that more sales go to the buy box than anything else, because a lot of people, they just click that big buy button right there on Amazon. And so yes, this set was selling for $75 in Q4. If you bought it for $31 at that point, you're almost doubling your money. You're doing pretty well with a return on investment even after paying your fees. But that again is if you bought it down at the low point. And so a lot of people probably paid a little more for this, but you're still doing okay. You're in the green at that point because the price has gone up right there, and you're seeing a buy box of $75. I do expect that if we looked at eBay and Bricklink, we're not going to see $75 for this, because again, we do see a low price of 42 or 43, and so that buy box is inflated because of the demand that we see on Amazon. Recently, also worth noting that Amazon themselves have come back in stock. We see the orange color coming back here, Amazon have relisted this set. They probably found a couple more pallets in the back of the warehouse and they've listed the set again, but they've listed it for $73. So right now on this set, you can actually see right here, Amazon is in stock for $72. Again, this MSRP was $60. So this is an example of Amazon selling a Lego set for higher than the MSRP. When this set was still available in retail stores, Amazon were selling for $60 or lower. They discounted it. Now they're selling for $72. So Amazon must be watching BrickBox videos. That's what's going on here. So Amazon in stock at $72. Now let's look at the next one here. So we have Luigi's Mansion Haunt and Seek expansion set 71401. And this is another one that retired at the end of January 2022. But what we're actually seeing here is it actually stayed in stock into 2023 for a couple of months. Right before retirement, we had a discount on this set. So it was an $80 purchase price, but on Amazon, it was discounted in Q4 2022 down to $64. So you could have got it for $64. Now, if you bought it for $64 over the next couple of months, we do reasonably okay. By May, you're in profit. So by May, it was selling for $65 at the low price on Amazon. So if you bought it for $64 at that point, you're profitable. You're doing okay. And everything on top of that is your profit. But it then was a little bit slow for the rest of the year. Amazon did come back in stock for a little period right before Q4 2023. But then in Q4, we do see a nice jump in this price, right up to around $120. We see right here, the low price was $127 for a brief time. And so right now, we see the buy box actually jumping again recently, and now it's at $135. So the current buy box on Luigi's Mansion Haunt and Seek is $135, but it was at $140 just a couple days ago. So again, it was an $80 MSRP. So even if you paid MSRP for this, you're making money. But if you bought it at a discount for $64, on this one right now, you're doing great. This is actually doing really, really well after just a year of retirement if you got it for $64. So that is Luigi's Mansion Haunt and Seek. Next up, we look at Mario Fuzzy Flippers expansion set 71405. And this is another one that retired at the end of 2022. And we can see it was a $20 set up until right before retirement. It dropped to $11.99. So if you bought this set for $12, then you are getting a great, great price on it. Now, as soon as it sold out at the end of 2022, we see the price jumping to $26.90. So again, you could have bought it for $12, and just days later, you could have sold it for $27, $28 right there actually. And then over the course of the next couple of months, we see the set selling for consistently around $21. But then we see the buy box around the halfway point in the first year of retirement at around $32, $33. So again, if you bought it for $11 or $12 and you're selling it for $33, you're doing great at that point. You're probably doubling your money. If we were to calculate out the fees right now, I imagine you're close to doubling your money at that point after just 6 months if you manage to buy this at the low price of $12. If you paid full MSRP for it and you're selling it for $32, you're just around breaking even at that point. You're a little bit profitable. But over the course of the rest of the year, the price did come down a little bit, and all the way up until today, it hasn't really gone any further. So right now, the buy box is $28. So at that point, if you paid full price for it, you're not doing great. If you bought it for $12, you're doing reasonable. But at $28, I would have hoped that this would have continued to go up a little more. So it's taken some time for the Fuzzy Flippers set to find its legs and really kind of become a good investment, unless you did get it for that low price of $12. Jumping into another one here, and I'm going to just look at a quick couple here that actually retired the previous year. So these are some sets that retired at the end of 2021, which was the first year of retirement for Mario sets. And the first one we're going to look at here is the Bowser's Castle Boss Battle. This is 71369. Now, this one did retire at the end of 2021, but Amazon lingered in stock on it for around 8 months into the first year of retirement. So we see it still selling for $100, which was the MSRP of this set, right up until around August of the first year of retirement, which was 2022. Then we can see the price quickly start to climb. So it went from 100 up to 180 at the buy box within a couple of months. So that's a great climb. I really like to see that very, very fast climb in price here. And then over the course of the second official year of retirement, we can see the price peaking here at $215. So it has come back down again from there, but if you sold it at that $215 price after buying it even at full MSRP, that's a great investment right there. Your return on investment is probably somewhere around 80% at that point. You're doing pretty well. And since then, again, the price has not gone much further. So this one definitely was impacted by Amazon staying in stock for half a year after they should have been out of stock. stock, but then it quickly found its feet and started to climb. And if you invested in this set, you're doing pretty okay, especially if you got it at a discount. Because here we're talking about buying it at full price, but if you bought it here for $80 and then you sold it at the high point for $215, you're doing great at that point. Next up, Super Mario King Boo and the Haunted Yard expansion set. And this is another one that retired at the end of 2021. Amazon were actually not in stock on this listing, so we don't see any of the orange color here, but the set was selling. There were sales going here. It was all third-party sellers like you and I, and we do see that the price was pretty flat all throughout its first year of retirement, so nothing really happening here. In the second year of retirement, we do see it getting up to $95. Right before retirement, it's selling for $50. So it did have some price climb here on the King Boo and Haunted Yard. But this one, I think, is an example of a poor investment. It didn't really go very far. Pretty flat price for 2 straight years of retirement with a little bit of a bump. That will help you to, of course, break even. You're probably not losing any money here. But as an investment, it's not one that you're going to be writing home about. Next up, we have the Mario Guarded Fortress expansion set. This is 71362, retired at the end of 2021. And right before retirement, we see this selling for $35 on Amazon. It was a $50 set, but you could have got it for $35. And over the course of the first year of retirement, we do see that price climbing at the buy box to $70. So if you bought it for $35 and within a couple of months, you could have been selling it for $70. At that point, you're doing pretty well. After your fees are covered, you're going to be making a pretty solid return on investment after just a couple of months. If you waited longer, we do see the low price climbing as well. So not just the buy box. You're talking about 77 right here in August. Now, Q4, it came back down a little bit, so the supply went up and the price came down a little bit. And since then, it hasn't really gone much further, so it's been quite flat in the second year of retirement. Right now, it's selling for $71.50. If you bought it for $35 and you're selling it for today, again, you're making money, you're doing pretty okay. But after 2 years of retirement, I would have hoped that you'd be doing a little bit better on this one. But it is only a matter of time before the price goes up a little bit more on this set, but right now it has been flat for some time. And then to round it out here, one more quick example from 2021 is Womp's Lava Trouble. This is 71364. This one retired at the end of 2021. You could have bought it for around $15, $16 right before retirement. It was a $20 MSRP. Over the course of the first year, it was pretty flat for a long period of time, but in Q4, it rose up to $30. So if you're buying it for $15, selling it for $30, you're making a couple bucks at that point. But if you got it at a better price, so for example, we see little periods where the price dropped even further. Right here, you were able to get it for $11. And so if you bought it for $11, and also, by the way, I remember specifically about this set, I remember other retailers having this set at half price and at really low prices, being able to buy it for like $11 from places like Best Buy. I actually specifically remember that about this set. It had some pretty good deals available. So if you bought this for $11 and after a year of retirement, you're selling it for $30, at that point, you're doing pretty well. After we cover fees and everything, you're probably almost doubling your money on this one. But since then, it hasn't gone any further. It has been pretty flat in year 2 of retirement. So the best time to sell it would have been at the end of the first year of retirement. But remains to be seen what's going to happen this year in 2024. So overall, 2 years of Mario sets. There are other sets as well. We didn't cover everything. I just pulled some random sets that have been retired for 2 years and for 1 year, but this gives us a pretty good understanding of what has been going on with this theme. And broadly, what I'm seeing here is that these sets do rise in price. There's a lot of question marks about that. A lot of people were thinking Mario sets, the way that they are, they're catered towards kids, they're very playable, and they're quite different than a lot of other themes. They're not going to go up in price. These things are going to be terrible investments. Now, here's the thing. Some of these were actually really good investments, and there's been many cases in these examples I just walked through where you could have been doubling your money or at least 70, 80% return. There were also other cases where you're not doing great. And really, there were some cases that we see the price staying flat for longer than I would like to see. So broadly, this is a theme that you can definitely invest in, but you need to pick the right sets. It's not a sure thing. It is a theme that you will need to research a little more, and you can go back over some of these sets and start to ask questions about why some of them did better than others and start to understand it a little more detailed in that way. The other thing I would say is that you really got to make sure that you are buying at the right prices. There was a lot of examples that we saw here that if you bought at the low price, you're doing great with an investment, but if you paid full MSRP, you're not doing so well. And so it is important with the Super Mario sets to get them at good prices. Luckily, there's a lot of opportunity to do that with this theme. This is a theme that is commonly discounted. We see a lot of bargain bin prices on some of these sets. A lot of you out there probably got a lot of these sets for half price, because I've been seeing a lot of these sets at great prices during the big deal days of the year and all of that. So if you're buying these sets at great prices, a lot of these sets here would have been pretty solid investments. And that's not to say that this is the best theme out there to invest in, but it's definitely one that you can make work if you are buying at the right price. But I'll be watching it this year. I'll be excited to see what's going to happen with the most recent retirements from Mario, and let's see where things go from here. And if you like me just serving all of the research to you so you don't have to do it yourself, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below so we can have plenty more videos like this in the future. And when you're down there, make sure to get your copy of Winning Set Secrets. That is my book about how to pick the right sets to invest in, because if you haven't read that yet, you've been snoozing. And with that, thank you so much for being here. I'm Shane from brickbucks.net, and make sure that this is your year to lift off and be free.